Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Alex Tai from theEnglishNinja.net, and today I wanted to share a little bit with you about my first month teaching English online with Gogokid. If you'd like to follow me on my English teaching journey, or you're looking for tips in your own online teaching adventure, make sure you click on that red subscribe button down below. But before we dive right into this video about what my experience has been like, I wanted to share why I started teaching with Gogokid in the first place. So to make a long story short, I was looking for ways to diversify my income stream. With my online business, The English Ninja, I primarily deal with blog writing, copy editing, and occasionally a translation from Spanish to English. But over the course of the coronavirus pandemic, it was becoming more and more difficult for me to find consistent clients. Some months were very lucrative, and other months I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. Fast forward to this fall, and I was fighting with the Spanish government to get my residency papers in line, and I was also trying desperately to find a job in a brick and mortar setting. I wasn't having any luck. So I decided to think, what else could I do as a way to make some extra money and have a more stable income? So I realized I've been a teacher for over 7 years. Why don't I see if it's possible to teach English online? So I started researching different companies where I could teach English in a virtual classroom. And very quickly I came across VipKid, Gogokid, Zebra English, Palfish, just to name a few. After watching more videos than I would like to admit, I finally settled on Gogokid. If you guys don't know by now, Gogokid is owned by ByteDance, which also owns TikTok, and they primarily cater to children between the ages 5 and 12. For me, the application process was super simple and painless. Of course, I did have a wonderful referral teacher that guided me along the way. Now, the first step is just going on to Gogokid and entering some basic info. Once you submit your info, Gogokid responds and invites you to select a time slot for a recorded interview. Once you select a time for a recorded interview, they send you an email that contains a sample lesson that you will prepare along with some other training materials. I personally spent 2 or 3 days preparing this interview and practicing the lesson. I recorded myself several times and watched it back to see what mistakes I was doing and how I could improve. Then I logged into the Gogokid platform and did the recorded interview with their lesson, which lasted about 10 to 12 minutes. And I think within 48 hours I already had a response and an invitation to upload the rest of my documents into the platform, which included a transcript and a copy of my TEFL certificate. And all of this transpired within, I think, a week's time, and I signed my first contract on November 17th. As soon as I signed the contract and received the confirmation email from Gogokid saying that everything was good to go, I logged right into the platform and opened up as many time slots as I possibly could. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was incredibly hesitant about whether this would be a successful money-making adventure or this would be a massive time waster like several online freelancing platforms that I've tried in the past. Needless to say, when I saw my first booking the next morning, I was incredibly excited. That excitement lasted for maybe 5 minutes until I realized, oh my gosh, I have to teach my first student tomorrow. I think I spent at least an hour and a half prepping for that first class alone, and the first thing the student says to me when I see him in the virtual classroom is, "Teacher, I cannot hear you." Oh my gosh. So I'm already super nervous as is, but luckily the tech team came in and solved the problem, and I was well on my way. In the first week with Gogokid, I ended up teaching 14 classes, and the second week I had another 22 classes. Then in weeks 3 and 4, this is when the magic really started to happen. All of a sudden I had opened up a ton of time slots, and without realizing what was going to happen, I was fully booked. So I'm talking between 40 and 50 classes in each of those weeks. I did survive. I don't know how, but I did. Now, I think what you guys are all wondering by this point is, how does this break down in terms of the money? So what I want to do is log into my Gogokid teacher app and show you the exact breakdown of my first 30 days within Gogokid. Let's take a look. Alrighty, so here we are inside of the Gogokid teacher platform, looking at the payment records on my account. Here you'll see that this is for the second part of November, which includes my first official day with Gogokid on November 17th. On the left-hand side of the screen, here are my class earnings for those first few days with Gogokid, which came out to be $309.20. This is calculated based upon the base rate I was given by Gogokid, which is $8 per class. But remember, classes with Gogokid are 25 minutes a piece, which means my hourly rate is roughly $16 US. Here under the class earnings, you'll see trial classes, which does not come out to be an even integer, and this is because a few of my trial class students did not show up, but luckily Gogokid still gives you 60% of your base rate just to stay inside of the classroom in case the child shows up a bit late. Then I had a $5 enrollment incentive because one of my trial class students signed up to become a full-time Gogokid student. And finally, I had a $19 bonus that Gogokid gave me just for opening some extra time slots during the Thanksgiving holiday week. So let's go ahead and add $333.20 into our calculator and take a look at the first 2 weeks of December. And flipping over to December, you'll see that my class earnings skyrocketed. And those first 2 weeks of December, I made $792 from classes. And again, after those first 2 weeks, I really didn't have any trial students. In December, I only had one, and the rest of my bookings came from regular core class students. Let's add in $792 to the calculator, and this is the total amount. But since I started my contract on November 17th, I actually need to add in December 16th into this total to give you guys an accurate 30-day total amount. On December 16th, I taught 8 classes at a base rate of $8 per class, so we'll add in $64 more, and this is my total amount for those first 30 days. But in November, Gogokid actually gave me a nice new teacher incentive, which was $300 because I signed my contract before November 30th and I taught at least 3 classes within 30 days. So I'm counting this $300 new teacher incentive along with my first 30-day total. So let's add that in. And finally, I did also this new teacher boot camp. It shows up on December 30th. But I actually completed that at the end of November and got a $15 bonus just for watching some videos and completing a short quiz. So once we add in that extra small bonus, you'll see that my total amount for those first 30 days with Gogokid came out to be $1,504.20 in US dollars, which is pretty nice. So I hope that information has been super helpful for you. If you're thinking about becoming an online English teacher with Gogokid, I'm going to leave my referral link in the description down below, along with my email address in case you'd like some extra guidance along the way. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click that red subscribe button, because over the next few weeks, I'm going to share some updates with you about my own personal English teaching journey, along with some helpful tips for you inside of your own English teaching classroom. Until next time, bye-bye.